The 17th and final race of the day to conclude the first day of action for the 2020 Rotax Max Challenge Germany season here in Saxony. Let's have a look at the final grid of the day, the 17th and final race of Saturday. So, starting on pole position, who quite comfortably won the last race by over 4.4 seconds, Niklas Krenz in the 4.31 will have Florian Breitenbach alongside for company in the 4.33. Hannes Border in the 4.68 will have the 4.13. So we do have a problem that the 4.09 of Tim Stender not being able to make it out of the pre-grid, but Steinert will start in fourth, ahead of Jonas Wolscheid and Oliver Breitenbach. Yannick Jacobs and Mark Bartels will complete the top 8 positions, ahead of Maximilian Dombos in the 4.14 and Dennis Thiem in the 4.04. Max Fleischmann will start in 11th position. Franziska Blum will start 12th, with Tim Stender looking to be starting at the end of the pit lane, with Ronny Göttler and Jana Stier completing the 15 strong. Red lights ignited on the starting gantry for one final time here, with a further few more races to come tomorrow. So it will be down to Niklas Krenz and Florian Breitenbach to control the rolling start formation. Red lights are ignited on the starting gantry for one final time here on Saturday. 14 minutes plus an additional lap. Saw some great racing in the previous encounter. Now we have them to close the action here as the sunshine beats down, bathing the track with a very warm glow. They now come towards the final corner here at the 1,315 meter circuit. They now split, head into the tram lines. Things will start building as we go racing. One final time on Saturday is a good start, and we go off and racing. Good start by Niklas Krenz to get the lead initially as they all start filtering their way through into turns 2 and 3. As now Hannes Border up into second position as Florian Breitenbach trying to go up the inside of Jonas Wolscheid and takes back third position. Marcel Steinert now trying to go around the outside, and then there's a driver on the inside. That's Oliver Breitenbach going 3 abreast into the chicane. That's dicey at its level best, and they still manage, even with the slightest amount of contact, to get through. And it's 2 abreast coming out of the corner on the far right, far left of the circuit. And through the chicane, it's also 2 abreast between 2 respective competitors. As now the top 3 will start breaking away early as we now come across the start-finish line to complete lap number 1. Niklas Krenz leads. Hannes Border and Jonas Wolscheid were the top 3, but Florian Breitenbach and Oliver Breitenbach now. So there has been a few of the old changes, the old switcheroos up and down the order, but the leaders coming through the top 3. So Krenz leads, and that is the 4.33 of Florian Breitenbach, who is up into second position. Jonas Wolscheid, Marcel Steinert, Oliver Breitenbach now round out the top 5 positions. Yannick Jacobs in the 4.11 in 6th place. Max Fleischmann has now got up into 7th in the early phase of the race and ran at the back end of the field. Is Franziska Blum. It looks like Tim Stender wasn't able to make it out onto the circuit, having technical problems in the pre-grid. As Yannick Jacobs trying to get past Oliver Breitenbach, poor position, but the Nice Racing driver not willing to give up that place easily. As Jonas Wolscheid also trying to make some moves up the order. As now Yannick Jacobs gets past Oliver Breitenbach, and Max Fleischmann sort of holds off a little bit there, trying not to go through the same place, as they are absolutely squabbling at the back end of the field. Jana Stier trying to make her way through traffic. Oh my goodness, Jana Stier gets lifted off the circuit, trying to go up the inside. And that was probably with Maximilian Dornbos. So Jana Stier goes backwards into the the plastic barrier, and there are 3 carts involved. Double waved yellows. So Janos Stier went skywards and was thrown backwards. But the main thing is that Janos Stier got out of the cart unassisted. So double waved yellows, no overtaking whatsoever at the double right. 2 drivers now eliminated, and that looks to be Maximilian Dombos and also Janos Stier as a direct result. So both drivers to safety, both carts off the racing line. Full course green flag conditions. Circuit wide. We now have 10 minutes and 45 seconds plus an additional lap still to go. Niklas Krens is not going to have it easy because there are 2 drivers trying to catch up and try to pass, as Florian Breidenbach and Hannes Border are, well, between the top 3, they are covered by just over half a second. But there is one driver that's starting to, as also Franziska Blum looks to have also parked it. Ronny Göttler trying to go up the inside of Oliver Breitenbach, going into turn 5, tries to make the move. The pair go side by side. Göttler gets through. As Florian Breitenbach now trying to put the hustle on Niklas Krens to go for the win. But initially you have to get the lead in your pocket first of all before you can start trying to break away from the opposition. And they have slightly dropped Hannes Border in the process. Marcel Steinert rounds out the top 4 ahead of Yannick Jacobs. Then Max Fleischmann making good steady progress up into 6th place as the leaders cross the line. On to lap number 6. So we have 4 retirees, unfortunately. We're down to 11 competitors. At the end of it is Mark Bartels. Ronny Göttler now up into 8th place. But we've had Maximilian Dombos, Janos Stier and Franziska Blum, and also Tim Stender, who did not start the race. But now with the pace that both Florian Breitenbach, who's just incidentally set the fastest lap of a 50.749, is closing on Niklas Krens. The pair were nearly 1/10 of a second apart last time. They came around to complete lap number 5. We're now going to complete lap number 6 as Breitenbach gets a really good run coming out of the right-hand sweeper. Half a cart length between the leader and second position as they go into turn 2. Krens still holding on to the lead for the minute. Hannes Border looking now a bit distant in 3rd place, but Marcel Steinert now trying to close us up in towards the lead. Goes Florian Breitenbach up the inside of Niklas Krens. And then through into the chicane, the right-left, then it's a left-right. And then it comes back on itself before another right-left chicane. 8 minutes and 17 seconds plus an additional lap. 11 competitors out of the 15 that were due to start still competing. So Krens was leading, is now in the hands of Florian Breitenbach in the 4:33, who crosses the line to lead after 7 laps. And has got a gap over Niklas Krens of nearly 0.3 of a second. Hannes Border in 3rd, Marcel Steinert, Yannick Jacobs round out the top 5. Fleischmann 6th, Wolscheid 7th, Göttler, Oliver Breitenbach and Dennis Thiem round out the top 10, with Mark Bartels languishing a little bit further down the order in 11th and the final position. But at the moment, between the top 3 drivers, Hannes Border on the last lap was quicker than the pair in front by only half a tenth ahead of Florian Breitenbach, who continues to lead ahead of Niklas Krens. Krens was the slowest out of the 3 with a 51.131, but then Florian Breitenbach now goes pretty quick, as does Niklas Krens. They're both running in the 50.7s. But by 29 thousandths of a second, Krens is denied the fastest lap of the race so far. Marcel Steinert now hits the 50-second bracket at 50.871. The best lap time from the number 413 from RS competition. Currently sits at 50.771 seconds. Leaders now fast approaching the conclusion of lap 9, and you can now see that the top 5 separate covered by 2.80 seconds. Florian Breitenbach continues to lead. Niklas Krens looking to try and chase him down and goes quicker, but Marcel Steinert sets the fastest lap. 50.643. So Steinert closing on Hannes Border. Border is about 1.4 seconds off of Niklas Krens, who is in turn just under 0.3 of a second off of Florian Breitenbach, who continues to lead. We're about to hit double figures in terms of laps completed. So the leaders now coming through in towards the double right-hander. And that gap looks to be slightly extending. Once again, they come across the start-finish line. Gap now up to 0.439 of a second. Florian Breitenbach now sets the fastest lap of the race once again. As Mark Bartels looks to have called it early and decided to park the number 488 from 42 competition on lap number 8. As the leaders now are on lap number 11, we go into the last 5 minutes plus an additional lap of the race day. So the leaders again cross the line once more. And we've gone even quicker. Ronny Göttler last time around went in and put the fastest lap of the race and has gone sub 50.5 seconds, 50.491. Gap between Florian Breitenbach and Niklas Krens now extends to 0.473 as Ronny Göttler has now got past Paralympic Germany's very own Jonas Wolscheid. And Göttler now up into 7th position, but is still nearly 1.3 seconds adrift off of the 4:07 of FM Racing's Max Fleischmann. So still 10 drivers competing. And it was quite close between the two leaders. Now we've had someone run wide and go off into the gravel off of the penultimate corner on the circuit. And that is Yannick Jacobs. Yannick Jacobs has had drama just a handful of moments away from the end of the race, and that's an instant retirement. So Yannick Jacobs from Kraft Motorsport on the Tony Kart chassis is out of the race, having run in the top 5 for the majority of it. But still, the gap remains pretty much the same between the top 2 at the moment. As Marcel Steinert starting to come under fire from Hannes Border in the 468 from Kartsport Klim. So this is the battle for 3rd position as the 2 leaders cross the stripe, and the gap between them now is just under 0.7. And we've had a penalty issued to Maximilian Dombos, who has had a time penalty added of 5 additional seconds for causing an avoidable collision. So Yannick Jacobs now pretty much will be confirmed as a retirement as we head into the business end of the race day action here in Muelsen. And Steiner now trying to hang on, as Hannes Border last time around was about 1/10 adrift as they came across the start-finish line. Leaders will now come across to complete lap 14. As Breitenbach now has nearly a second advantage over Krens. Steinert extends the gap to just over 0.3 of a second. As Max Fleischmann still stays now in what is 5th position as a result of the sudden retirement due to a mechanical drama for Yannick Jacobs. But then Ronny Göttler, Jonas Wolscheid and Oliver Breitenbach now will be battling over what is 6th position. And Göttler leads that by just under half a second. from Jonas Volscheid. Into the last 90 seconds. And Florian Breitenbach continues to assert a comfortable lead. It's not much, but it will do. And the gap now goes to just under 1.1 seconds. So by my calculations, we'll have this plus another 2 laps of racing still to go. So Florian Breitenbach still leads. The battle for 6th position is the one that's really keeping my interest at the moment, because it could end up being the battle for 5th if Ronnie Göttler manages to claw back some of that 8.5 tenths of a second disadvantage that is not in his favour but is in the favour of Max Fleischmann in 5th place, who's just up ahead. Jonas Volscheid not too far behind Ronnie Göttler and is closing a little bit on the 499. So we head on to the penultimate lap. Lap number 16. So 15 seconds on the clock remaining, and when Florian Breitenbach gets to the far part of the circuit, the timer will have expired for the last time today. 17 races pretty much completed. And as it goes through the chicane, the timer runs out. 14 minutes are done and dusted. So the final lap board to complete the first day of competition for the opening weekend of the 2020 Rotax Max Challenge Germany season is being shown to Nies Racing's 433, Florian Breitenbach, who now has a lead of 1.1 seconds over Niklas Krenz. Marcel Steinert rounds out the top 3. Hannes Border in 4th, Max Fleischmann in 5th. Ronnie Göttler is just 0.3 of a second ahead of Jonas Volscheid. Oliver Breitenbach and Dennis Thiem round out the 9 that are still circulating. As Dennis Thiem goes through the infield straight away, but just one more chicane and then a couple of right-handers to go. As Florian Breitenbach now will this time see the checkered flag. As the day's racing action comes to a close here in Saxony, round the final corner. The DD2 race winner for race 3, it is Florian Breitenbach. Niklas Krenz takes 2nd. Marcel Steinert in 3rd place. Hannes Border finishes ahead of the ever quickly closing Max Fleischmann, who on the final lap of the race sets the fastest lap and takes 5th place ahead of Ronnie Göttler. Jonas Volscheid in 7th position ahead of Oliver Breitenbach, with Dennis Thiem completing the 9 drivers that did finish the race. We did have some retirements, unfortunately, that Yannick Jacobs retired abruptly on lap 11, Mark Bartels on lap 8, Jana Stier, Franziska Blum and Maximilian Dombos finished the 14 drivers that managed to make it to the start, but were all eliminated on lap 2, with Tim Stender not able to make the start.